Hello and welcome. I'm Ashley Applegate, and this is On the Couch with KWI. Today we're joined by Mr. Kegan Dales.
Hey.
Kegan, when did you graduate KWI?
I graduated KWI April of 2018.
Okay, so I'm assuming you went right out to work. Tell us about your first job.
Yeah, so my first job was a week after I graduated, and it was on an oil rig in the Gulf.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Right, so when you get to this oil rig, you go there and you start welding like any other job, or what was it like just getting there?
So first I had to drive down to Louisiana, take the weld tests. I had to pass those, and then we had about a week and a half of training. And so that training involved getting in simulated helicopters and being dunked under the water and seeing if we could escape in different conditions.
Okay.
And they would mimic how the ocean would be. So
right.
that was a whole lot of training in that aspect.
In other words, the safety of the job started before you even saw the oil rig.
Yes, and luckily, being at KWI, we did a whole lot of that safety training. So the whole 6 months at KWI, we did training. It was literally every day, I think.
Like wearing your safety harnesses and getting used to those different restrictions and,
Right.
and working in conditions and things like that.
Yep.
All right. Well, tell us about life on the rig. How was that?
So we would do 2 weeks on and 1 week off, or 3 weeks on and 1 week off. And some people liked that, some people didn't. We didn't stay on the rig because this was a big job out in the Gulf. So it was Chevron. It was called the Chevron Bigfoot oil rig, and it was Chevron's biggest oil rig.
Okay.
And so there were 200 people on the oil rig, and then there was a flotel, which is a floating hotel, and it had 400 people.
Wow.
So total out in this little section of the Gulf, there were 600 people working on this oil rig.
Okay. So I'm sure that you made decent money out there, but while you're out there, was there anything to do? So you got your time on and you're out of your hood, you go back to your flotel room. What do you do there? Just kind of chill?
Yeah, so they have like a rec area with a basketball court and a gym, and there's swimming pools.
Okay.
And then you share a room with somebody. So the thing that a lot of people wouldn't like is you're never with the same roommate your week on. So you go out there, you might have a new roommate. The next time, your next hitch, you might have a different roommate. So you never know who you're going to be rooming with.
Okay.
So that's something unique about that.
So you guys refer to that as a hitch? Is that what you're calling the ride out?
Yep. So the hitch, a 2-week hitch or a 3-week hitch.
So the weld test you took at KWI, did they prepare you for the weld test of that oil rig?
Yes, pretty exactly, because Kentucky Welding Institute, we learned how to weld copper, nickel, and stainless, and I only had to take 2 tests for the oil rig, which was copper, nickel, and stainless.
Okay.
So yeah, it was like I wasn't even phased, by it.
So progressing forward, you kind of got one of those bucket list jobs that maybe a lot of people dream of. You got some offshore work going
Right.
on. Where all have you been since then?
Since then, I've worked in plants in Ohio, Louisiana, Texas, Illinois, Wyoming, and then boilers in Pennsylvania. And then also, I spent like a year and a half in the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
At a refinery there, so that was a cool experience.
Okay.
But yeah, all over.
Yeah. So how are you finding all these jobs in all these different places?
Well, that's the most important thing in this line of work. It's all about who you know and networking. So you can be the greatest welder in the world, but if you have a horrible attitude and you don't know how to make friends and talk to people, you're not going to get work. But you can be an average welder and be a good person, show up on time, know how to network, know how people work, and social skills, and you'll have never-ending work. So someone told me that early on, and I really focused on that. And so I had a lot of help from people, throughout the last 3 years working that have got me on jobs just because they know how I am and how I work.
Okay.
So all I have to do now, or really people text me now, you know what I mean? And sometimes I'll text people if they need anybody, but it's usually within a matter of minutes I can be on a job.
Yeah. Well, Kegan, I appreciate your time coming in and chatting with us today.
Yep.
And appreciate you tuning in. Ashley Applegate, On the Couch with KWI.